So your test review for tomorrow, literally 1-6-1-7, that's it. Okay, so everything you did from 1-6, everything you did from 1-7. The first examples are from 1-6. You're just solving these square root equations and radical equations. Remember, with these square root equations, rational equations, with these square root equations, you want to make sure you isolate the radical first, and then if you can, square both sides and solve for the variable. Remember, you cannot take the square root of a negative number. So if you isolate that radical and it's equal to a negative number, obviously there's no solution. For example 1, we have 7 minus the square root of 2x plus 3 is equal to 12. Now, some of you had this as like a quiz question, something similar to this, and you really didn't grasp the concept of what was going on and how to move over the terms that were in front of the radical. You have to look at the terms separately. So like this, you're going to look at the 7, you're going to look at the negative, completely separate. So that's 7. It's a positive 7. We're going to subtract the 7 from both sides. The 12 minus 7 gives us what?
5.
So that's the opposite of the square root of 2x plus 3 is equal to 5. That negative that's in front of the radical has to be moved over to the other side. So we're going to divide it on both sides. So these become positives. We're going to have the square root of 2x plus 3 is equal to negative 5. Is it possible for you to take the square root of a number and get a negative? No, it's not. The square root of any number will always be positive. If there is a negative underneath that radical, you would pull out the I in order to represent that negative, so it doesn't become negative when you take the square root of it. So there is no possible way that you can take the square root of a number and get the negative 5, so we have no solution for this one. You can't square both sides with this one because, like I said, you can't take the square root of something and get a negative number. So before you even take the square root of both sides, you got to look at it and say to yourself, is it even possible to take the square root of anything and get a negative 5? Technically, yes, but in this case, since we're just working with one single solution, it'll never work out.
So what from there, would you look at it and be like, oh, it's no solution because what's negative? Because that's negative 5?
Because it's equal to a negative number.
Oh, that's equal to, okay.
Yep. For number 2, you have 3 times the square root of x plus 4 is equal to 9. I cannot tell you how many of you on your quiz decided to subtract the 3 from each side with this one. You have to divide it. It's 3 times the square root. If it's 3 multiplied by the square root, the only opposite of multiplication is division that you can move that 3 over with. So divide each side by that 3 to start with. This gives you the square root of x plus 4 is equal to positive 3. You're equal to a positive number, so you can keep going. Square both sides. So this gives us x plus 4 is equal to 9. Now just solve for x. Move your 4 over by subtracting it from each side. And this gives us x is equal to 5. For 3, we have the square root of 3x minus 5 is equal to the square root of 4x minus 11. What do we do with this one? We square both sides. So this just becomes 3x minus 5 is equal to 4x minus 11. What would you like to move over first?
5.
Okay. Well, you guys said the 5 first, so that's what we're moving. So we have 3x is equal to 4x minus 6. Then what? Subtract the 4x from each side. So this gives us negative x is equal to negative 6. Then we divide by negative 1. I'll leave it like this so that way you see it. So x is equal to positive 6. For number 4, we have a fraction is equal to a fraction. For this one, we're going to, yes, exactly. We're going to cross multiply. So this is going to give us 5 times x plus 4 is equal to negative 8 times x minus 2. We're going to distribute the 5 in. We're also going to distribute that negative 8 in. So we're going to have 5x plus 20 is equal to negative 8x plus 16. What would you like to move over first? The 8? How? Okay. So if we add the 8x to both sides, this is going to give us 13x plus 20 is equal to 16. Then what?
Subtract the 20.
16 minus 20 is?
4.
So 13x is equal to negative 4. Then so x is negative 4 over 13. For number 5, same exact thing, yes. So you have x plus 4 over negative 8 is equal to 1 over x minus 2. We are going to cross multiply, so same thing. This gives us negative 8 times 1 is equal to x plus 4 times x minus 2. FOIL the right side, multiply the left side. So negative 8 times 1 is negative 8. That x times x is x squared. X times negative 2 is negative 2x. 4 times x is 4x. 4x minus 2x is positive 2x. And then 4 times negative 2 is negative 8. You want to move that negative 8 over, add it to both sides. This gives us x squared plus 2x plus 0 is equal to 0. Factor that x squared plus 2x. What's your greatest common factor? X. They both have an x, so your greatest common factor is x. So this becomes x times x plus 2 is equal to 0. From here, you're going to set each part equal to 0. So whatever you factor out, which a lot of you didn't do this on your quiz, whatever you factor out, you have to set equal to 0 as well. So that x gets set equal to 0, as well as that x plus 2 gets set equal to 0. That x is equal to 0 is a solution. So just highlight it from the start. For the x plus 2 is equal to 0, subtract your 2 from each side, and you also get that x is negative 2. For number 6, you have x plus 3 over x plus 1 is equal to x minus 5 over x minus 4. Same exact thing as the other two that we just did. You have a fraction is equal to a fraction, so cross multiply. You're going to have x plus 3 times x minus 4 is equal to x plus 1 times x minus 5. FOIL on the left side, FOIL on the right side. The x times x gives us x squared. X times negative 4 is negative 4x. 3 times x is 3x. So that gives us a negative 4x plus 3x is negative x. And then negative 3 times negative 4 is negative 12. For your x plus 1 times x minus 5, same thing, FOIL it. So x times x is x squared. X times negative 5 is negative 5x. 1 times x is 1x, negative 5x plus x is negative 4x. And then negative 5 times 1 gives us negative 5. From here, you got to move terms over. You have an x squared, so everything needs to be on the same side as that equal sign. However, when you move that x squared over, you would subtract it from both sides. What happens with that x squared on both sides? They cancel. So the only thing you're working with is that negative x minus 12 is equal to negative 4x minus 5. You no longer have an x squared in your equation, so you do not have to get everything on the same side. Get your x on one side, get your constant on the other. Which one would you like to move first?
Moves up 15. Or 12. Is that 15 or 12?
Move.
Like add 12 to the right side.
Okay. So this leaves us with negative x is equal to negative 4x plus what?
7.
Then what?
Negative 4x to the other side by adding.
Okay.
The 3x equals positive 7.
Then what?
Divide. And the x equals 7 over 3.
Good. For number 7, you have 6 over x minus 3 plus x minus 12 over x plus 3 is equal to 36 over x squared minus 9. That x squared minus 9 is what factored out? So your least common denominator here is what? X plus 3, x minus 3. What are you going to multiply your first fraction by in order to get rid of the denominator?
6x
What?
times x plus 3.
Okay. So that gets rid of your denominator. So this is just going to be 6 times x plus 3. What about the second fraction, that x minus 2 over x plus 3? What are you going to multiply that one by to get rid of the x plus 3 on the bottom? So that's going to be plus x minus 2 times x minus 3. That 36 over x plus 3 times x minus 3, what's going to happen with that?
You just equals 36.
So from here, multiply. If you have to distribute, distribute. If you have to FOIL, FOIL. So the 6 times x gives us 6x. 6 times 3 is positive 18. The x times x is positive x squared. X times negative 3 is negative 3x. Negative 2 times x is negative 5x when you add it with the negative 3x. And then the negative 2 times the negative 3 gives us a positive 6. On that left side, combine your like terms. Drop down that x squared first. You have 6x minus 5x, which gives us positive x. Then that 18 and that 6 give us 24. And this is still equal to 36. You have an x squared, so get your equation equal to 0. Move the 36 over by doing what? The 24 minus 36 is? Negative 12. What are your factors of negative 12 that add up to positive 1? Negative 3 plus 4 equals 1. So this factors out to be x minus 3 times x plus 4 is equal to 0. You're completely factored from here, so set each part equal to 0 and solve. So you're going to have x minus 3 is equal to 0, as well as x plus 4 is equal to 0. Move your 3 to both sides. That gives you x is equal to 3. Move your 4, subtract it from both sides. You also have that x is equal to negative 4. Now with this, you have something called an extraneous solution. This x is equal to 3 is an extraneous solution. The reason why is because if you plug it into the denominators, you would get a denominator that is equal to 0. And you cannot work with a denominator that's 0. So like if you plugged in that 3 for x, you get 6 over 3 minus 3, which ends up giving you 6 over 0. You can't work with 6 over 0. So that 3 is an extraneous solution. Extraneous solutions just means that, yes, it's an answer that you get. However, it's not going to work. That's all it means. Moving on to number 8. We have 5x over x plus 4 minus 3x over x plus 3 is equal to 2 over x squared plus 7x plus 12. First thing that you need to do is factor the denominator, that is that x squared plus 7x plus 12. What is it going to become? Yep. So your least common denominator is this x plus 4 times x plus 3. So you're going to multiply the 5x by what? That cancels the x plus 4 out. The negative 3x, I would turn this into a negative, that into a positive. Over the x plus 3 gets multiplied by what to cancel out the x plus 3? And then that cancels out. And then the 2 is going to stay the 2. And then the denominator cancels out there. So we're going to do 5x times x plus 3 plus or minus 3x times x plus 4 is equal to 2. So factor or distribute in the 5x times x is 5x squared. The 5x times 3 is 15x. The negative 3x times x is negative 3x squared. Negative 3x times 4 is negative 12x. Combine your like terms on the left side. That 5x minus 3x gives us 2x squared. Sorry, not x, x squared. The 15x minus 12x is 3x. And this is still equal to 2. So move your 2 over, get it equal to 0. Subtract it from each side. You have 2x squared plus 3x minus 2 is equal to 0. Try to factor this. Your a is something other than 1. So multiply your a and your c. So 2 times negative 2 gives us?
-4.
What are your factors of negative 4 that add up to be positive 3?
There are none.
There are.
There are?
Negative 1 times 4 is negative 4.
Oh.
And negative 1 plus 4
Give me the first one.
equals 3. This was 4. Negative 1 plus 4 is positive 3. Okay, so this is going to get rewritten as
2x squared plus 4x plus
minus x minus 2 is equal to 0.
Yep. And group.
So group them. Oops. What are you going to factor out from the 2x squared plus 4x?
2x. And you're going to get x plus 2.
And then it's not x plus.
Wait.
How do you get the x plus 2 from the negative x minus 2? What are you factoring out?
Anything out 2x is going to be x for one of them, and then for the other one, it's going to be 2, right? 2x times 2.
You're factoring out a negative 1 from the negative x minus 2. Yeah.
I was still on the first one.
Yeah. So then this becomes 2x times x plus 2 minus 1 times x plus 2 is equal to 0. Your two parentheses are the same. So x plus 2 times 2x minus 1 is equal to 0 is completely factored. Set both parts equal to 0 and solve. So x plus 2 is equal to 0. 2x minus 1 is equal to 0. For the x plus 2, subtract the 2 from each side, you get negative 2. For the 2x minus 1 is equal to 0, add your 1 to both sides. You have 2x is equal to 1. Then divide each side by the 2, so that way you have x is 1/2 as well. So two answers here, the negative 2 and the positive 1/2. For your next part, goes over 1.7. You're just solving and graphing these linear inequalities and writing your answer in interval notation. For example, 9, you have 38 plus 5x is greater than 7 times x plus 4. What's the first thing you're going to do here? Distribute the 7. So that's 38 plus 5x is greater than 7x plus 28. Now what? What are you moving? The 7x. So we're going to subtract it from each side. So this gives us 38 minus 2x is greater than 28. Then what? Subtract it from each side. So you have negative 2x is greater than negative 10. From here, what are you going to do? When you divide each side of an inequality by a negative, what else do you have to do? So x is 5. If we drew this on a number line, you find that 5, is that 5 going to have? An open or closed circle? Open. Which way is your line going? To the left. Which means for your interval notation, what's the smallest number that you're going to have? Up to the largest number, which is? What goes on both the negative infinity and the 5? Parentheses. And the reason why the 5 gets the parentheses is because your sign tells you that it's not also equal to. If it was equal to, you would have a closed circle and a bracket on that number. Number 10 gives you 5x minus 7 times x plus 1 is less than negative 9. First thing you're going to do here is what? Distribute the negative 7. So that gives you 5x minus 7x minus 7 is less than negative 9. You have like terms on the left side, combine them. So this is going to give you negative 2x minus 7 is less than negative 9. What do you do from here? So that's negative 2x is less than negative 2. Because you're dividing on both sides by a negative u. So x is
Greater than 1.
on your number line. That 1 is going to have an open or a closed circle.
Open.
Which side is your line going?
Right.
So your interval notation, what's your smallest number?
1.
What's your largest number?
Infinity.
What does the 1 get?
Parentheses.
And automatically the infinity gets?
Parentheses.
Good. For 11, you have 8 times 1 minus 4x is greater than or equal to 60. First thing you're going to do? Distribute. So we have 8 minus 32x is greater than or equal to 60. Now what?
Move the 8. Okay.
So that's negative 32x is greater than or equal to?
52.
So divide each side by the negative 32. What do you do when you divide by a negative? So x is less than or equal to, simplify that. It's going to be negative. 4 goes into both of those numbers evenly. You get 13 over 8. So negative 13 over 8.
Wait, you only flip it when you divide by a negative number?
Yep.
Oh, I thought it was by anything.
It's by a negative. You got to multiply each side by a negative or divide each side by a negative in order to flip your inequality sign.
Okay, multiply 2?
Multiply or divide by a negative. You flip the inequality. So from here, on that negative 13 over 8, what kind of circle are you going to have on it? Close, because it's equal to also. Your line's going to go to the right or the left?
Left.
To the left. So this is going to go from
Negative infinity.
to,
And then to 13, negative 13 over 8 bracket.
good. For number 12, you have 7 times 1 minus 5x minus x plus 3 is greater than or equal to 4. For this one, distribute the 7, distribute the negative. So this is going to give us 7 minus 35x minus x minus 3 is greater than or equal to 4. You have like terms on the left side. Combine them. The negative 35x minus x is negative 36x, and the 7 minus the 3 gives us 4. If we move that 4 over, we're going to subtract it from each side. So that gives us negative 36x is greater than or equal to 0. From here, we can divide each side by the negative 36. We flip the sign, and that gives us x is less than or equal to 0. On your number line, that 0 is going to have an open or a closed circle, right or left. So your interval notation is going from
Negative infinity.
up to,
0 bracket.
good. For 13, we have 4 times 8 plus 2x minus 2x is less than 3. So again, distribute that 4. We're going to have 32 plus 8x minus 2x is less than 3. On the left side, combine your like terms to give yourself 32 plus 6x is less than 3. From here, move your 32 over to get x by itself. This is going to give you 6x is less than negative 29. Divide each side by the 6, and that gives you x is less than negative 29 over 6. On your number line, find the negative 29 over 6. Open or close circle.
Open.
Open, right or left? Left. So your interval notation is
Infinity
to negative 29 over 6
yeah.
with parentheses on both. For number 14, we have negative 6 times 2x minus 1 minus 7 is greater than or equal to 1/3 times 9x plus 12 minus 8. We're going to start this one by distributing on both sides. So this is going to leave us with negative 12x plus 6 minus 7 is greater than or equal to 3x plus 4 minus 8. Combine like terms on each side. That's 6 minus 7 gives us negative 1. So that's negative 12x minus 1 is greater than or equal to 3x. The 4 minus 8 is negative 4. If it was me, I would move the 12x over by adding it to both sides, just so that way my coefficient is positive. So it gives me negative 1 is greater than or equal to 15x minus 4. From here, I'm going to add the 4 to both sides and get positive 3 is greater than or equal to 15x. From here, we can divide each side by the 15, and this gives us 1 over 5 is greater than or equal to x. This does not have x first. You need to have x first in order to graph this correctly. So if you rewrite this as x on the left side, 1/5 on the right side, your sign is open to the 1/5, so it's going to stay open to the 1/5. So this is going to give you x is less than or equal to 1/5. On your number line, that 1/5 is going to have an open or a closed circle. Closed, because it's also equal to. Your line is going to run to the left. So for your interval notation, you're going to have parentheses, negative infinity, comma, 1/5, close bracket. 15, we have negative 10 is less than or equal to 2x minus 6, which is less than 12. In order to get rid of what's in the middle other than x, you are going to undo the addition or subtraction before you undo the multiplication or division for this one. For this one, we're going to add the 6 to every part to get it out of the middle. The 6's cancel in the middle, and we're going to have negative 4 is less than or equal to 2x, which is less than 18. From here, divide every part by the 2 to just get x in the middle. So it's going to give us negative 2 is less than or equal to x, which is less than 9. On your number line, you're going to find the negative 2, you're going to find the 9. The negative 2 gets a closed circle, your 9 gets an open circle, and because it's written in this way, the line goes in to connect both circles. So from here, on your number line, the smallest number that orange line or that orange part covers is the negative 2. The largest is the 9. That negative 2 has a closed circle, so you're going to get a bracket on that. The 9 has an open circle, so the parentheses goes on that. For 16, you have 1 is less than 3x minus 1 all over 2 is less than or equal to 5. Get rid of the 2 in the denominator first in the middle. You're going to multiply both sides by that 2, which cancels it out in the middle. So 2 times 1 is 2 is less than 3x minus 1, which is less than or equal to 5 times 2 is 10. Take the 1, move it out, add it to all parts. Cancels out from the middle. We have 3 is less than 3x, which is less than or equal to 11. From here, divide out the 3 from the middle and divide it from each part. So 1 is less than x, which is less than or equal to 11 over 3. Your x is by itself now in the middle. So on your number line, find the 1, find the 11 over 3. The 1 gets an open circle. 11 over 3 gets a closed circle. Your line goes between them since it's an and statement. It's written like this. So your interval notation is going to go from 1 to 11 over 3. The 1 has an open circle, so it gets parentheses. The 11 over 3 has a closed circle, so that gets the bracket.